I am very, very excited about the first subject, the ugly truth about entrepreneurship. Now, if you're wondering, why are we going over this specific subject, the ugly truth about entrepreneurship, right? Well, what's happening on social media these days?
On social media, it's glorified to be an entrepreneur.
It's a lie.
It is a lie.
It's all rainbows.
It's a lie.
No
It's
adversity,
fake.
nothing.
It's not real. It's a facade,
Yeah.
Yep.
right? I mean, it literally, the highlights of these people's days and lives. And unfortunately, man, they're selling a dream. They're what is it? A check that they can't cash.
Correct. Yes.
And a lot of people are falling for it. And I've been in this game over a decade, and I've been grinding and hustling since I was a little boy in Mexico. And I'm telling you, it's a lie. It's not real. And now in 2024, you're starting to see who was swimming naked.
Yeah.
Ain't that the truth?
Amen.
Right? So, let me start with some crazy, wild statistics about what real entrepreneurship is. You ready?
Yep. Let's hear it.
There are 33.3 million SMBs, which stands for small to mid-sized businesses. Okay. 99.9% of those businesses, actually overall in America, there's 33.3 million businesses. 99.9% of those businesses are small to mid-sized businesses.
Yep.
Can you believe that? Right? That means that 99.9% of the economy, right, as far as in the business sector, are small to mid-sized businesses that, they roll the dice on their dream. They roll the dice on their dream, right? Now, watch this. This is nuts. 80% of those businesses operate with no staff. That's 27.1 million businesses that are all owner operated. One person. One person. All right, let's continue. All right. Now, on the positive side, right, 34% of all businesses are minority owned. That was a shocking statistic for me. I expected like 15 to 20.
Really?
34% of them are minority owned. That's actually a very positive thing, right?
For sure. Yeah.
That means that people truly are reaching for the American dream.
Correct.
It's still alive.
That's why they come here.
It's still alive. Let me continue down, and we're going to get into this. All right. 61.6 million people are employed by these small to mid-sized businesses. That means that that makes up for 45.9% of the entire U.S. workforce. Right? Now, here's where it gets really ugly, and this is how you know that what's going on social media is far from the truth. The average salary of a small business owner is just 16% above the annual mean wage. And here's another stat that you might want to know. 57% of these businesses are owned by males and 43% are owned by females. First, kudos and flowers to all the amazing women out there that are stepping up. 43%. I mean, you have to remember at one point, women couldn't even vote, right? Like,
Correct.
That's right.
like they have fought
Yeah.
over the last century to get to where they are today, women. And 43% of women now own these businesses across the country. So let's get some feedback from you guys. Based off those statistics, who wants to go first? What does that tell you?
Let me share. So you said that one is 16% above median, right?
Salary? Yep.
So when I took the leap, right? We all took the leap here as entrepreneurs. So when I took the leap, I told myself I'm willing to make less money working for myself than I would working for somebody else. Right. And I think we can all agree that that's kind of the philosophy that we walked into this with, is like, I'm okay with either making the same amount, maybe even a little bit less, knowing that I don't have to answer to anybody else. I mean, what do you guys think about that?
I think that the entrepreneur space is the point of entrepreneurship is to find a problem
and to fulfill that problem and to be compensated for the effort of solving the problem. And so many people are forgetting that in the entrepreneur space, if you just copy and paste, you're replicating the last person. It's copy, paste, recreate. I like what Pat David says in The Entrepreneur and the Entrepreneur. They're both in and of the same. The entrepreneur is going to say, hey, I'll build the platform. You can be the rocket to launch off of this foundation, because everybody wants to take all the weight. But when you are the one taking the weight, you're telling the person, be the entrepreneur, hey, you don't want to take this weight. Be good at where you are and who you are, and take off from there. Because if you build the platform, now you got to worry about the spark plugs. Now you got to worry about the oil change. Then you got to worry about the backstabbing. Then you got to worry about all these other things where you can just focus on what you're good at. And I think entrepreneurs right now, because of social media, because of YouTube, because of the courses, have all thought that I can do this by myself. Entrepreneurship is also partnership. It's one ship commingling for the same vision.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that too, because transitioning into what I would consider myself as an entrepreneur now, right? And you talk about it all the time. As entrepreneurs, you have to create a vision big enough for people like myself to come in and have their vision be able to fit inside of that, right? And as an entrepreneur, I mean, I look at sports teams like, some of these franchise teams, the Bulls,
Yeah.
the Patriots.
Yep.
Everybody has to play a role. The Lakers, maybe you're not the Kobe Bryant, but maybe you're the Robert Horry, and at the time of a clutch situation, you can be counted on, right?
Big shot Bob.
Big shot Bob.
At the end of the day, this is America, a capitalistic system. So it's an actual obligation for every citizen to provide a service or a product for the other services. The government isn't supposed to keep the oil on the machine to keep it running. It's up to the citizens. It's up to us. So I think that number should be a lot higher, but people are programmed in school where they're limited. It's go get a job, go get a 9 to 5. It's an industrial revolution type of mentality that we're past, but people are still living in that past. And I think if more people embodied entrepreneurship, I think that's why on social media there is a push for entrepreneurship. But people are using that for their own gain, right? They're saying, "Oh, I'll coach you be an entrepreneur. Look at my Lambo." But they're not saying, "Hey, you know what? You're going to be met with 99% failure." Imagine going to school and the teacher says, "Okay, look, if you get an F, it's really an A." That's entrepreneurship. Without failure, you can't succeed. All of us have failed.
Yeah.
The reason why we're sitting here is because we didn't give a shit. We just kept going.
Well, let's go back to what you said, Phil, is there has to be someone that's willing to take on all the weight.
Yeah.
Carry all the liability.
Yep.
Right? Take that huge risk. Make sure that people's families are fed.
Yes.
Right? And something that there's two big things that I've been able to do, praise God, over the past 2 years. Number one, I had to create a vision big enough for other people to want to be a part of.
Yep.
Right? And just one of our companies, our real estate private equity company, that's a $1 billion vision in 3 to 5 years. Who doesn't want to plug into that?
Correct.
Right.
You can be an entrepreneur out there and be making $500,000 to $1 million a year. And by the time operating expenses like marketing and payroll and rent and everything, all the miscellaneous fees and taxes and all that comes out, you're left with almost very little.
Less than your top producer.
Right? Facts.
Yeah.
I mean, your sales guy might make more money than the business owner.
Correct.
Right?
And you have to, as the owner, you have to work more.
So I had to get my Deion Sanders on. So number one, I had to create a vision big enough for people to want to be a part of it. That's number one. Number two, I had to get my Deion Sanders on. I had to recruit entrepreneurs and show them the vision, why you want to jump on this huge ship, why you want to be a part of this big plan. You know, and then now they start to transition from that entrepreneur mindset to the intrapreneur mindset.
Correct.
But it won't happen, right? It won't happen if the vision isn't big enough. Now, what entrepreneur can't plug into $1 billion vision Come on now.
Yeah.
Correct.
Right? Come on.
And I think we did it. I think, and I know Phil wants to say something, but I think we did it backwards the first time. We hired people, turned them into entrepreneurs, and they left.
Yeah.
Instead of building an organization that wants entrepreneurs to want to jump on this team, become entrepreneurs to help us scale faster, right? Everybody, you think about the people that left, everybody left these doors as an entrepreneur. They came in as a salesman, as, something along those lines.
They came
as
in
an
from
employee.
State Farm.
They came in as
They
an
came
employee.
in from car dealerships, right? They came in from a bank, working at a bank, right?
They learned the blueprint and dipped.
I think that, what troubles me is that it is so glorified to be an entrepreneur. And from my experience, my first year in sales making $500,000, next year close to 7 figures, to first year in business not paying myself for 8 months straight. First year in business having our first lawsuit, right? First year in business losing employees. First year in business trying to figure it out. First year in business having to raise hard money just to pay your bills to make it through. And so for me, that's why it's so hard to plug into a lot of these networking events that glorify and, this person's a business owner and this person's a business owner. And I get it, the more hands you shake, the more money you make. But are you shaking the right people's hands? I don't just want to shake everybody's hand just to know everybody. And so what it comes down to is there's not enough people talking about the reality of entrepreneurship. Another statistic, 46% of the new businesses that start end because they don't have a product that the market needs. 46%. Wow. So when you look at it, you have people that are encouraging other people that would fit great in an organization as an entrepreneur. And let's be honest, most people do not have the mental fortitude to actually endure with resilience to build a business, especially one with $1 billion vision.
Can we jump on that, bro? Do you think that's, I'm asking all you guys, is that because of the programming? Because in school you're taught not to be an entrepreneur. You think it's because of the programming, or you think it's innate human nature?
I think that it's a little bit of both. I think that some people are meant to be warriors in a garden, and some people are meant to be gardeners in a war. Right?
Hit that button, bro.
And that's it, baby.
Wait, what? Yeah. Hold on, that wasn't.
That was a bomb, bro.
I think Carlos just had a third
That wasn't
orgasm.
me, by the way.
That definitely sounded like you, bro.
That was low.
That was low.
Not like right here on the mic, but that was ridiculous.
So remember, back in the day, if you went out to hunt and you didn't bring back food, your family didn't eat. Right. So you have hunters and you have gatherers, and there's nothing wrong, right? If you are a gatherer, just know your part and know how to play the position. Right. The main problem that I think we have, and I do agree with you, I think the numbers should be higher for entrepreneurship, but I think that the main problem that we have is nobody knows how to be a good soldier before they're a good general. Wow. Right? Everybody wants to be the captain of the ship. That's right. And what people don't understand, what Phil taught me early on, he used an analogy of a cargo ship, and being a leader of an organization is not being the captain of the ship, right? You give that to your entrepreneur that's going to lead the organization. Being a CEO, a business owner of an organization, you are the propeller under the boat, right? Nobody gets off of the boat and says, thank you, propeller. Thank you for getting us here. No, it's a thankless job, right? When the employees need help, I mean, me and Phil have sent out a good amount of money to people just to make sure that they can continue with the vision, right? Because they go through the trials, they go through the tribulations. Are you willing to suffer and suffer and suffer to make sure that everybody else wins around you? And most people are too selfish, and they are committed to their highest priority, right? And that's why there's a lack of leadership in the entrepreneur space, because they'd rather go for their highest priority instead of the community's highest priority.
2023, I would give the Entrepreneur Award to Deion Sanders. He goes from an all-black college, then goes to Colorado, generates Colorado for the home games $113 million to the entire city.
With the losing record, by the way.
With the losing record.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Not only that,
wait, what?
Yeah, he also produced 2 of the highest paid NIL players.
Wow.
With the losing team.
Wasn't his son one of them?
His son, Shadur Sanders, and Travis Hunter. Not only that, he brings performers to Colorado, has Colorado
Correct.
the heartbeat of the entire. When they hired Deion Sanders, they didn't even have the salary to pay him. They said, we'll figure it out.
Bro, who cared
he
about
generated-
Colorado
I've
before
never-
Dion went over there, right?
Nobody.
I've never
Right.
seen a college football game where people are there to see the coach.
It was like a
Like,
celebrity
legit happens.
game.
It was a celebrity
The
game.
Rock came out. Well, I mean, all kinds of Hollywood people and rappers came out. Lil Wayne came out, and
Ex-NFL players.
Little Baby and The Baby and all the babies came out, right?
Yeah, but he also was on commercials on Aflac with Nick Saban. And then he also, the Shades, right? The Deion Sanders
Yep.
Shades.
Yeah.
The documentary.
It wasn't the documentary. So he leveraged that exposure. He said, look, this is high exposure, guys. Shadur Sanders, do your watch. Travis Hunter, keep posting. The whole entire team understood the power of content. He has 2 of his sons playing, and then he has the other son filming the content of him in the locker room, him in the field, him and his mother, right, giving his mother praise. And then his 3 sons come together and buy him a house in Colorado. I think it was $5+ million.
I've never seen college athletes pull up in a Rolls Royce Cullinan.
They weren't
Yeah.
allowed to.
I've
They weren't
never
allowed
seen
to make
college
money before,
athletes in the middle of the field with like 300 grams of diamonds.
Well, they used to have them. They just had to hide it.
Yeah, they had to
right?
hide it. Yeah,
For sure.
Johnny Manziel.
Remember?
Remember? Yeah.
allowed
Oh,
to
bro,
make
come
money
on. What he was
before.
doing wasn't exactly legal.
It's legal
according
now.
to
Yeah, yeah. No, it
You know what I mean?
wasn't. It wasn't.
Worse.
But
worse,
come on, like
You saw Zion Williams
Yeah.
came out. Yeah,
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 yeah.
When Zion Williams was out there as a college recruit,
it was
the dude-
definitely a lot rarer. I will say that, but they were behind the scenes. I mean, they were getting
they
their
had to.
recruiting
They
odds.
had
Well, there's so many
Yeah.
entrepreneurs now that Nick Saban said, I'm done. I can't afford to recruit players anymore. Right? They're not
Well,
coming to.
he didn't have enough star power like Deion Sanders has, right? If Deion sticks it out, I mean, that program is going to turn around just by the talent that he's going to be able to bring in. Everybody, think about it, bro. It's like you're a pro, right? You're already a pro.
college level,
you're
yeah.
experiencing all the pro. All the things that
Amenities.
the benefits,
Yeah.
all the
Correct.
benefits that comes with being a pro at a collegiate level.
What's wild
right?
about Dion, though, it's not about the game. He's preparing them because he understands 99% of them aren't going to make it to the NFL. So he's preparing them for other positions to be leaders in entrepreneurship. So he's actually doing that, which I find it amazing because normally people just think about the ball player and that's it. And it's a limited mindset, and he's breaking them out of that, which is
So
impressive.
we're talking about entrepreneurs, right? And Deion Sanders, you have to look. This guy at one point was possibly the greatest defensive player in NFL, right? And he was a star from the get go, playing both sides of the field. You know, playing both two sports at the same time. But look at how it works, right? He made his living on his feet. He now has lost his toes.
Yeah.
Somebody like that. This is the definition of an entrepreneur of not giving up,
Ooh.
right?
Well,
He could.
Ooh.
All right, that was a little bit more subtle. All right.
Let's stay with something like that for the rest of the show.
So
The
this
other one sounded like a-
this guy lost what made him who he is, basically, right? His feet, his toes. Have you ever seen a picture of his toes recently?
No.
He's missing like half of his foot.
Wow.
What was it, by the way?
It was just some sort of like disease that that happens, some autoimmune disease, I don't know, something like that caused his feet to just not be able to heal properly after surgeries. So he lost his toes. He's losing they just showed him he just was recently able to start running again. But
Wow.
to see that, okay, well, I know I'm not going to be able to do anything on my feet realistically. I can't teach drills like running. How do I continue to be that star that I was back then if this has happened? And entrepreneurship is like adapting, right? Adapting. That's what makes us entrepreneurs, successful entrepreneurs.
Well, think of that scenario, right? Have you guys ever seen that meme on Instagram where the entrepreneur jumps off the cliff and builds a plane on the way down?
Correct.
That's exactly what Deion Sanders did. But again, let's go back to the ugly truth of entrepreneurship, right? Here we go. Risk. 97% of all small businesses eventually fail. It's an emotional and mental roller coaster. The highs, the lows. I got money. I'm broke.
Yep.
Right. We're one month you're taking a trip to Hawaii. The next month you're like, how am I going to cover my bills? Right. Most human beings are not equipped to handle that type of stress because you know what happens next, right? That stress eventually turns into anxiety, and that anxiety eventually turns into depression. What a lot of people don't talk about on social media, I would say less than 0.001%, because everybody's trying to make entrepreneurship look like, it's some, I don't know, it's something out of the movies.
Yeah.
Easy.
It's not real. It's easy. You're going to become rich. You're going to drive the Lambos. You're going to have the watches and the mansions and the private jets. And no, that's far from the truth. Here, let's continue. One of the first things that you neglect as a business owner and an entrepreneur is your health. We neglect our health. Think about it, right? We're so obsessed with making this thing work that we don't think about our mental health. We don't think about our physical health. Our spiritual health is nowhere to be found, right? And then that starts to seep over. And then the other thing that gets neglected early on in your journey, the first year to the third year to the fifth year, right? Not only is it your personal health, right, in every aspect, but you start to neglect your family. Yeah. There's no work-life balance.
That's right.
There's no work-life balance, and then divorces come. And then the children resent you, and they resent business, and they resent money. See, no one talks about these things.
Yeah.
And most people, most men specifically, never make it out of that. They never make it out of that. Most entrepreneurs, successful entrepreneurs that we all know, they're on their second, third, or fourth, or fifth marriage. And they're quick to show off the second wife, the baddie.
Yeah.
The third, the fourth, the fifth wife, the baddies, right? Because you got money now and you got some clout and you got some presence, right? They don't even stick it out with their first wives.
Right.
Yeah.
They can't even make that work.
The OG that was there with them when they had nothing.
The person that went through that roller coaster and went through those hard nights and those early mornings and taking care of the kids and supporting you and telling you that everything was going to be okay. Most men quit on their wives.
I think let's give a shout out right now to all the women that, especially in our lives, right? My wife, I love her dearly. She's been supportive. Your wife has been supportive. And you guys are in relationships now, children, but you guys decided to have that with individuals that you felt are going to be able to support you at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Right? Your house and your home has to be somewhere where you can come back and recharge, not have to put out more fires as soon as you get there.
If I wasn't with my wife or I didn't know her when I had nothing, I wouldn't want to give any woman what I had afterwards. Does that make sense? Like
I can never do that.
I needed someone to be there when I had nothing, so I know the intention is real. It's love. It's me. Like I was fit when I was starting my relationship with my wife. You guys know I openly say it. I'm obese now. Technically speaking, I'm not proud of it.
You're FAF?
What does that mean?
Fat as fuck.
Yeah. Oh yeah. More than that. You're 35%.
I don't
body
even
fat,
know how you fit in those leather jeans, bro.
Very carefully. Very carefully.
Did you lube up before you put them on?
No. I know.
Did you
I know how to
powder up
figure it
before
out.
you put 'em
when
on?
you're short,
What
it's
size
easy.
are those?
It's easy.
I think that the problem though also is, with the older generations, it was keep a lot of your cards close to your chest. And, you look at a lot of the younger generations, we have a lot more vulnerability in the way that we lead, right? So many entrepreneurs don't want to talk about it because they feel like if they talk about the struggles and things like that, it's going to make them look weaker. And I do agree, when you are at war, keep some things to yourself, right? Keep some cards. But for the people that are in the battle with you, you have to be vulnerable with them. Right. And, the same thing goes on with the influencer space. Being partnered with, you and Zealous Energy and just going backstage with you and seeing all these influencers at a high level, I've seen that there's a lot of leverage, but not a lot of vulnerability and integrity, right?
That's
And when you look at that, you have to think about the long-term effect of what we're doing to our children, the people under us, because it was, oh my goodness.
That's not me.
Definitely sounds like you, bro.
To talk
We'll
on the
cut that
depression
out.
point, we had a meeting today with our team and we talked about the hardest thing that we had to overcome, and we all went around. And for me, it was overcoming the depression while not showing anybody I'm depressed and building a new business.
That is, to add on to that, Carl Jung says one does not become enlightened by showing figures of. One does not become enlightened by bringing figures to the light. but by bringing consciousness to darkness. And go back to entrepreneurship. So many get into entrepreneurship and they haven't started healing. They haven't started to work on that dark side. They haven't said sorry to the person that backstabbed them. They haven't let go of things, and they carry that into the business. So that hatred, that pain gets exerted onto those in your organization. So when you go into your organization, that culture is being dissipated because you haven't started the process to healing. You haven't gone through the parts that the organization needs to carry the boat to the next destination. I think that in entrepreneurship itself overall, because we all have an entrepreneur spirit, and the creativity is that you have to learn to break through those barriers. You have to learn how to collaborate and to be open and to be vulnerable, because there's no way for you to grow to that next level if you're holding on, like we talked about in previous podcasts. If you're holding on to the side of the bridge, you're still holding on to a lot of pain and discernment that you haven't figured out yet.